Hello everybody, once again this is Fred Wankwa coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Allen TV, and today there is no time to fool around. This is very serious business, not just for me, for all of us. Every one of you needs to get involved. For the last year and a half, almost every one of you that's active on social media has been very excited about all the reporting that David Hundeyin has been doing. He's the one responsible for everything we know about Chicago State. Without David Hundeyin, there is nobody who's going to know anything about, well, we'll know it, but not the detail we know about Bola Ahmed Tinubu's drug involvement and money laundering in America. David Hundeyin is a very serious investigative journalist, Nigeria's premier investigative journalist. This episode is all about trying to mobilize everybody that could be mobilized, and we're not stopping with this episode. It's going to go on. We're going to mobilize people on social media. We're going to mobilize people in America, because the crooks in Nigeria are starting to play their games to shut down journalism and only leave journalism based on the Dele Alake and Bayo Ononuga fake journalism of lying to Nigerians and promoting atrocities as the real way of life. Kick back, relax. We got quite a few today, but it's all focused on David Hundeyin. Folks, before we get into the deep end of the David Hundeyin situation, I just want to clarify one thing about the investigations going on at Chicago State University. Now, the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, doesn't mind his certificate being released, but he doesn't want anything to be discussed about the gender of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu who attended Chicago State University, a billionaire that's bribing people across Nigeria and lately is bribing people across Chicago and other parts of the US, is scared of releasing details about his gender. Does it make sense? Folks, you got to share this video. Invite your friends, share the video, like the video, subscribe to the video. Have your friends share the video as we give you this musical prelude before we hit it and go into the details about David Hundeyin versus Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
This is for you. Whoa! Azaga, zaga, zaga, azaga, zaga. Aikene Fred Wankwa Ezudo ezi nwafọ si ajalebia publisher African Lifestyle Magazine Chicago nwafọ ndị Chicago ji ejemba.
And now to David's story. Please, if you've ever listened to me in the past, this is one time you need to really pay attention to David Hundeyin. Many of the facts I bring you, I wouldn't have if it wasn't for David Hundeyin's very well-researched investigative reporting. Please pay close attention, and we have to do whatever it takes to make sure that harm does not come David's way. And if you're a journalist anywhere in Africa, you have to take this seriously, because one David Hundeyin hurt is every one of us hurt.
My name is David Hundeyin. I'm an investigative journalist from Nigeria, and I'm constrained to send out this public appeal to the Ghanaian government, to the Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo, the Ghanaian Minister of the Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry, and to the Chair of the Ghana Refugee Board, Prof. Kenneth Atafua. I fled Nigeria in 2020, and I applied for asylum in Ghana in early 2021. In May 2022, I was granted refugee status in Ghana. Consequently, I was also issued a Ghanaian refugee travel document, a refugee passport, which I have subsequently used extensively to travel across Africa and around the world. Now, last month, when there was the ongoing back and forth between those who wanted to go to war within the ECOWAS bloc, those who wanted to go to war with the coup regime in Niger, and those who didn't, something happened. The Nigerian president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, made a move to deploy Nigerian special forces illegally into Nigerian territory to enforce a no-fly zone, which is a euphemism for essentially staging a military attack, an unprovoked military attack against an independent sovereign nation and a friendly country to Nigeria. As was expected, most people in the Nigerian government, in the Nigerian military, and in the citizenry at large weren't at all on board with this. But Mr. Tinubu was clearly desperate to start this war with Niger, a war that nobody wanted. Subsequently, a secret document was leaked to me, a document which contained basically attack instructions and basically staging plans for this illegal invasion of Niger. And I knew that by putting this document out, I could potentially stop a catastrophic invasion, which would lead to an immense and unnecessary loss of West African life. So that's exactly what I did.
I truly hope we're paying attention, because today, which is about 4 or 5 weeks later, there's not a war going on between Nigeria and Niger, which technically actually would have been presented as a war between ECOWAS soldiers and Niger. But we all know who could have borne the brunt of that war if Bola Ahmed Tinubu had succeeded in his stooge playing position with America and France, who were trying to use him to fight their war. David Hundeyin is the person whose action made it possible to embarrass Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his lying propagandists, Dele Alake and Bayo Ononuga, from deceiving Nigeria and Nigerians into going into war with our friendly neighbor who did nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong to us. So keep listening.
early August, I put out this document, and it had the desired effect. It did, in fact, stop the invasion. Subsequently, Mr. Tinubu then tried to seek permission from Nigeria's Senate to deploy the Nigerian military into Niger. The Senate knocked this back. And to all intents and purposes, the invasion essentially became a stillbirth, right? It didn't happen. Which, from the point of view of, I think, any right-thinking person in the ECOWAS sub-region, was definitely a good outcome, right? What definitely under no circumstances should have happened should have been a military invasion of Niger by Nigeria, leading to an outcome that no one would have been better off. Well, I could spend an hour explaining the many different ways that this would have been a terrible idea, but I'm sure most people know this just as well as I do. It would have been something that would have been catastrophic and would have benefited nobody except probably Mr. Tinubu himself. Now, after I leaked this document, I was made aware from several sources that the Nigerian military establishment and the Nigerian intelligence establishment became essentially particularly enraged with me. So I've been a person of interest for a long time, but with that I became designated as something of an enemy of state. And as as fortune or luck, bad luck would have it, just a month before this happened, the fact that I do travel with a Ghanaian passport, that I have a Ghanaian passport and I travel with it, had become exposed to the public through no fault of my own, following a very unfortunate event in Zimbabwe, after which the permanent secretary at the Zimbabwean Ministry of Information, probably thinking that he was scoring a point against some sort of foreign journalists, following their issues with foreign journalists, decided to tweet to a global audience the fact that I did claim asylum in Ghana and that I travel with a Ghanaian travel document. As a result of this, the Nigerian establishment knew who to speak to if they wanted to get a hold of me. They were aware that I had claimed asylum in Ghana and that I used a Ghanaian travel document. So I was informed that a Nigerian intelligence agency, I'm not sure whether it was the National Intelligence Agency or the Defense Intelligence Agency, but one of these foreign intelligence institutions dispatched a jet to Accra to basically have me illegally rendered to Nigeria. Apparently they wrote a letter to the Ghanaian government accusing me of apparently aiding terrorism by supposedly revealing the locations of soldiers, and apparently I was also guilty of treason, whatever that means. Now, it seemed as if the matter was going to end there. But more recently, I've come to find out that the Tinubu government is still trying very hard to enact some sort of illegal rendition. So the latest tactic apparently is to lean on the Ghanaian government and accuse me of having apparently sabotaged an ECOWAS mission, and in so doing, basically compromised the bloc security of the ECOWAS region, in which case Ghana, being itself an ECOWAS member, is then obligated to cancel my asylum, to revoke my refugee status, and to revoke my Ghanaian passport. The Nigerian government's hope is that in revoking my passport, whatever travel privileges or visa or residency privileges I enjoy anywhere in the world will be compromised, and as a result, it will then be more possible for them, using the various avenues that are available to obviously a nation state, to have somebody extradited or to have somebody illegally rendered. In this case, a journalist who fled the country because of his work and claimed political asylum in another country and gained full refugee status. But the Nigerian government obviously has no problem trying to flout international law in this way. Now, the reason I'm making this appeal publicly to the Ghanaian government and to the individuals I mentioned at the outset is because I'm aware that even though the Ghanaian government, as I mentioned, has a relatively great track record when it comes to obeying international law and not behaving obnoxiously in the international space, which was why I chose to claim asylum in Ghana in the first place. I'm also aware that there's a limit to which Ghana might be able to resist the cajoling or the bullying of Nigeria, which obviously exerts a lot of influence over the Ghanaian government. So I thought it would be prudent to put this out there. I know that the Nigerian government is trying to do all of this in secret, which is why I was only able to obtain this information, through a fashion, right? This isn't information that is out there, but I'm putting it out there on purpose, hoping that it makes some kind of a difference. Because at the end of the day, I do believe that just the same way as Ghana had every opportunity to give me up in the first place. When I claimed asylum in Ghana, there was every opportunity to use me as a diplomatic bargaining chip with Nigeria if it wanted to. But I know that Ghana is not that kind of country. I know that the Ghanaian government historically has a lot of respect for international law. The Ghanaian government historically has a very strong Pan-Africanist outlook, and the Ghanaian government generally tends to lend itself to being a safe haven for people who are fleeing political persecution from wherever they are in West Africa, in Africa, and in the world at large. There's a very good reason why even during my time in the safe house in Accra, there were quite a number of journalists and whistleblowers who were in similar situations, who were also spending time in Accra. They weren't even just from West Africa or even from Africa. There were people from Europe there as well. That's the kind of stellar reputation that Ghana has when it comes to being a safe haven and an oasis of stability in what is generally still a very unstable area. So I want to urge the Ghanaian president, President Nana Akufo-Addo, the Ghanaian Interior Minister, the chairman of the Ghana Refugee Board, the Ghanaian Immigration Services, all of whom are apparently being linked on by the Nigerian government, to consider not only obviously the fact that I have been obviously granted full refugee status in Ghana, and the Nigerian government is trying to make Ghana blood guilty, right? The Nigerian government is trying to get Ghana to break international law so as to find a way to have me return to Nigeria. And the entire purpose of having me return to Nigeria is to even a personal score, because the person who is apparently the president of Nigeria now, as I'm sure everyone is aware, has a personal bone to pick with me, because I am the journalist who is responsible for essentially destroying whatever false reputation he was trying to build in the international space. I am the journalist who revealed that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a drug trafficker and is a certificate forger, both of which are about to have a significant impact on his continued stay in office. This is an attempt to settle a grudge, using a sovereign country, which is Ghana, as a sort of blunt force tool to get at one individual. This is the exact kind of behavior that the Nigerian state was renowned for during the 80s and the 90s under the military era. And at that time, some of these very people who are in power now, including the supposed president in power right now, did actually find some sort of refuge, safe refuge and haven in Ghana. Right? And I'm sure the Ghanaian intelligence agencies, the Ghanaian security services, the Ghanaian immigration services obviously have records of all of these. Ghana has a long and storied relationship with Nigeria in so many ways, specifically when it comes to serving as a safe haven for people fleeing political persecution in Nigeria. Without the support and hospitality of Ghana and of the Ghanaian government, a lot of the work I've been able to accomplish over the past few years could never have been done. I might not even be alive, right? The Ghanaian government has been nothing but honorable in its dealing. So I want to urge the Ghanaian president to resist the temptation to allow an illegitimate Nigerian president to push Ghana into breaking international law. I obviously don't need to mention that there's a law called the Law of Refoulement, which forbids the illegal repatriation of political refugees back to the country that they fled from, where they are going to face, persecution. It's very well known that if for whatever reason I were to be returned to Nigeria, I would not survive it. This is not a secret. So I'm putting this appeal out there publicly. I wasn't going to do this initially, but seeing as it doesn't look like there are that many options left, and the fact of my use of a Ghanaian passport and my permanent residency in Ghana is going to be used, or is the Nigerian government is trying to weaponize that, and Ghana, for all its best efforts, for all its best intentions, might not be able to resist the bullying of the Nigerian government. I'm constrained to put this message out in the public domain, at the very least for record purposes. So if anything were to happen to me, I hope it doesn't happen, but if something were to happen to me, everyone should know who is responsible for it and under what circumstances these things happened. The Ghanaian government, as I said, has been nothing but good to me. The Ghanaian government has behaved excellently, historically and presently. I hope that continues. I hope it's able to resist the tactics of the Nigerian intelligence agencies, the NIA, the DIA, the DSS, all which are parts of the erstwhile, the infamous NSO security organization, which used to carry out this exact sort of illegal international activity back in the 80s, because apparently that's the era that we've gone back to now. But in the event that the Ghanaian government isn't able to hold Nigeria off, and my Ghanaian passport is revoked, my Ghanaian permanent residency is revoked, I'm also appealing to international institutions that may be watching this to lean on whoever can be leaned on to see that this reaches some sort of resolution. And in the event that there is no resolution and I end up becoming a journalist who ends up dead because I did my job, well, I want everyone to know who was responsible. So that's why I'm putting out this appeal. I hope the Ghanaian government does the right thing. I have faith in them. They've always done the right thing more often than not. There are so many more people like myself who have found a safe refuge and a home in Ghana. I think it would be a very sad thing if that reputation that this country has built for itself should be damaged because of an illegitimate president in Nigeria who is essentially trying to personalize the apparatus of state and use it to pursue his personal vendetta around the world. So that's all I have to say this evening. Thank you for listening.
Folks, please share this video. Invite your friends to like it and subscribe and share. Let's make this go viral. Bull Talk is here fighting David Hundeyin's fight. But it's not Bull Talk's fight. It's not David Hundeyin's fight. It is Nigeria's fight. It is Africa's fight. It is a freedom fight for every oppressed person out there. It's a fight against every oppressive billionaire out there. I'm appealing to you to make this that fight that reaches every corner of the world where democracy is sought, where people are in pain, where people are suffering, if we don't fight this fight, the most productive segment of our society is going to continue to leave at every instance and opportunity they get. You need to take a look at foreign embassies in Nigeria. And you need to look at how many Nigerians are jackbuying across the world. Nigerians are jackbuying to Canada. They are jackbuying to US. They are jackbuying to UK. Now they are even jackbuying to Gabon and Togo and Benin and Ghana and Sierra Leone and Guinea and Ethiopia, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, everywhere they can make a launching base from where they can try their best to get over to the US, Canada, UK, and every place else. Nigeria is not a bad country. At its worst, which is where it is today, it's still an appealing place for people like us who love that country so much to want to come back to. There's a reason a person could have spent the last 45 years in the United States and still be seeking an opportunity, an enabling environment in Nigeria where he can return to, because that's where he calls home. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Nwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Island TV. And until next time, good night and God bless.
There is a beautiful home in a faraway land where the saints of God are gathering. Hear the sweet melodies they are singing unto the Lord. Oh, they are giving him praises forevermore. Alan Kemarama, Ebeti Aya, Ebenti Sobi, Alewuti, Noro Aputo, Anabukuru Juku, Aneye Aekele, Rebi Ebi, Yo Koko, Yo Koko, Yo Koko, Yo Koko, Yo Koko, Koko, Yo Koko, Yo Koko.
I am alive today, Papa. It's by your grace. I woke up this morning. It's by your grace. Those people who have died today, I am no greater than them. Those people in the mortuary, I am no cooling than them. I am alive today, Baba.